come on in the camper and I'll show you some of the features. So here we are. This is where the kitchen sink and the fridge are located. You can either have it running off electricity or propane. This is the heat switch, and I'll show you how to run this. You have to have the propane tank open on the front of the vehicle, and then you turn this from off to on, and then you can switch it to warmer or not as warm. And then if you want the air conditioning, that is up here. You have to be plugged into electricity at your campsite, and you can have it on fan or cooling. And this switch will give you less cooling and more cooling. Okay. On the sides here, you have lights. You have a little port right here for the ceiling fan that I'll show you. And then here's the shepherd hooks for the tents. Under here we have these ceiling fan units and a light, and they connect to the pole. You just snap it on there, then you take your little jack and you plug it in, and then you can turn on a fan and a light. So there's one of these for each bunk. And then when the camper is down and stored, you put them in here. We have some privacy curtains as well under here that you can feed into this bead right here, or right here, one of these two. I think it's this one. A smoke detector. Working. Down here under the table we have our carbon monoxide detector. That's working as well. This is one of our outlets that we have here. Sorry for the loud noise. And you can reset and test the outlets. So if you find that you're plugged into your campsite and these outlets aren't working, you can reset it at that switch back there. Here's the on-off switch for the pump to the water tank if you are using the water tank storage. Okay, there's no hot water, just cold water, unless you use the water heater. If you would like to use that, you let me know and I'll do another video. This is the larger end of the unit here. This one's closer to a king size bed. The other one is closer to a queen size bed. And then the windows have these sliding things. You take the Velcro and you loop it around this bottom loop all the way along when you set up the camper, and then you can use this pinch tab to raise and lower this. And then you have zippers on all the windows that you can open. Okay? And then when you're popping the camper back down, just release all of these so that when the bed frame comes in on this channel, it doesn't catch on the string and tear them. Okay. This table is pretty delicate. It's just on a post. Let me lift it off here. So that's just on a post there. And you take that out of here. Sometimes you gotta stand right above it and wiggle it off. Okay. You can store that just down here. Good. And then when you're taking these shepherd hooks down, you push the button in and pull it down and pull it straight towards you. And it disconnects just a little bracket right there from that bar. So when you're setting up, you go in between those two little nuts, snap it in and push it up. Because you have to kind of jostle it and then push it up and in. And when it's popped down, you can just take this bar and store it underneath the mattress so that you know which bed it goes to, because this one's a little bit longer. All right, bud, can you back up for me? Thank you. The sink comes down with this bar. Just grab this whole big bar down here and you lift it all the way down to the floor. When you're putting it up, you gotta make sure to tuck these pipes back into this little slot so that you don't pinch them. What else do we have in here? This table also folds out. So you gotta, fold these things and it goes flat right here for a bed. And it rests on these channels here and here. You can see I put the cushions down and the table down flat, getting ready to put the camper away. So the next step is also to take these shepherd hooks off, pull it straight off, and I'm going to put this under the mattress over there as well when I get a free hand. On this side, you got a short end of the table and a long end. The short end goes on your left when you're setting up the bed or putting it away. So you got a little nut there, so the short end gets held in with that little nut. And then you put all these cushions flat below the level of this rail so that these slide out beds can come all the way in. The next thing we're going to do is put the door up. I'm going to see if I can position the camera in a way that lets me do this. So this is the best I can do for camera position. Sorry about that. Now I use the Velcro of the tarp on the outside and lift the door straight up. And wiggle it out, okay? You can walk it back. It's got two cables on the back here. You're going to slide as well. And then you're going to usually do this with somebody else who's best. And lift it up. Above the brown panel here is another channel, this white one up top, and then you have a silver one. The silver one is for when the door is in position, and the white one is for when the door is on the ceiling. And there's a snap on each corner of the door just to secure it to the ceiling. And here. So this is how the door should look when it's fully stored, getting ready to lower the camper. Snapped on the right and the left. The last thing we need to do after the table, the shepherd hooks, and the cushions is to lower the sink. So we're going to grab this big grab bar back here and we're going to lower all the way to the ground. Sometimes you got to help it be flat. That lowers all the way down and rests flat on the floor there. Okay, I missed this shepherd's hook, so I'm going to take this one out, pull it straight towards me, like that. So we got our checklist here. We need the lights off, the door up, the sink down, the tables down, and the cushions below the level of those rails. The shepherd hook tent poles down and underneath the beds. The window shades need to be down and disconnected from the loop on the bottom. And all the windows need to be zipped up as well. And that should get you ready to put in the beds and lower the camper. On the front right of the camper, we have a little compartment. Inside you'll find a checklist for setting up the camper, a little step-by-step guide if you need it. This is a lock for the tongue of the trailer unit. This white hose is for drinking water. It has a pressure regulator and a filter. So this pressure regulator is the part that plugs in at the campsite, and then the other end of the hose plugs into the unit. So that filtered water is going through the hose. This is a 50 amp down to 30 amp converter, should you need that. And then these yellow blocks will be in there as well. You can drive up onto these yellow blocks with one of the trailer wheels if you need to level side to side. If you need to level front to back, you can use this indicator here. And then the front tongue jack is what we use to level front to back. On each corner you have a stabilizing jack, and this little tool will be included in the compartment here to help you put these feet up and down. This is required when setting it up so that it's stable when people are on the far ends of the bed. Otherwise the trailer could tip. We also have a little light here for at night, some outlets on the outside, as well as a spot for the stove to be connected on the outside of the camper. You can see a little track right here and a connection here for the pole. And then on the bottom we have a quick connect gas line. So it's the same one you have inside, but this one is just for the outside. I'll show you where the stove is here. That's on the inside of the camper under the front cushion. So that's the stove. And then that's the little metal bar that you use when you connect it outside. If you want to use it inside, you can put it up on the table here in these 4 little holes. And then the gas line's right here. So perpendicular is gas is off and gas is on. You also have to open the propane tank on the front of the unit. If the sink is having trouble draining, you can reach in here and grab this corrugated pipe, lift it up, and it'll help it drain properly. In this cupboard we have a garbage can, dustpan, things you might need for cleaning, and then some hand soap and another drawer there that you can use. This is the business end of the camper back here on the left side. We have our power cable that comes out. It's a 30 amp, and then we have a converter down to a normal house outlet if you need to plug it in with a normal outlet. Just know that if you're running the AC unit on a normal circuit, it'll probably blow the circuit. Right here is a little door where you can access the fridge controls. I'll explain how this works. You can put it onto gas for propane or electric for electric. If you're going to be plugged in, I'd recommend just using electric. For the gas, you would need to regulate the temperature with this knob, and then for electric, you regulate the temperature with this knob. So you select your gas or electric right here, and then you select how cold you want it, like this. So since it's plugged in at our house, I'll keep it on fully cold so it gets cold for you over the next couple of days. And then if you want to use gas, you can slide open this little door so you can see in that hole where the pilot light will light, and then you select from off to high, hold this button down, and then spark your pilot light. Okay, and then a few tries, you should see a little light come on there. It's very small, and that'll get you going. So I'll leave that on electric. That'll be the default. If you just want to not worry about it and have it on electric, that's what it will be set at. This drain outlet is where the sink drains, so it'll drain right onto the ground in your campsite, which should be fine. And then when you're driving, make sure to cap it with this drain plug. Okay. This is a fill spout for if you want to fill the holding tank with water. If you don't have a water connection at your campsite and you want to use water, you can fill it up there. Here it goes into a holding tank under there that will fill up. This is where you would connect that white hose into and just twist it on there. And that'll pressurize itself. You don't need to use the pump on the inside of the camper. There's a key on the key fob for an external shower head there that you're welcome to use. And then this is a hot water heater that I've never used, and none of my renters have ever used it either. So if you have questions about that or want to use it, you're welcome to ask about it. This drain outlet is where the sink drains, so it'll drain right onto the ground in your campsite, which should be fine. And then when you're driving, make sure to cap it with this drain plug. Okay. This is a fill spout for if you want to fill the holding tank with water. If you don't have a water connection at your campsite and you want to use water, you can fill it up there. Here it goes into a holding tank under there that will fill up. This is where you would connect that white hose into and just twist it on there. And that'll pressurize itself. You don't need to use the pump on the inside of the camper. There's a key on the key fob for an external shower head there that you're welcome to use. And then this is a hot water heater that I've never used, and none of my renters have ever used it either. So if you have questions about that or want to use it, you're welcome to ask about it. Each one of the four corners has a little tarp over this post. Two of the posts have this brace. We'll take the brace off, tuck this panel right behind that post, okay? For all four corners. After we do that, we're going to slide in the beds. The beds have this Velcro strap that you need to undo before you can slide it in, and I just like to tuck it up so it's above this channel. So I do that on both sides. This bigger bed has additional supports, so if you'll come close here with the camera, you're just got to lift up with your shoulder about an inch to get that out. There's a bent portion for the bed and a straight portion that goes on the tongue right here if you're closed in on that. Okay, so pull those out first. And then I'll get these posts outside of their little channel. And they'll be ready to push the bed in. We just push straight in. Grab the post here because it gets caught up on a lip. And just get it right over that little bump. The thing we don't want to do when putting the beds in and out is lift up on them, because it'll bend this channel and make it impossible to get it inside its groove, okay? So just start again. So I push it till I've got about an inch of a gap there, and then we can take these posts off. Just like that. When you're setting up the camper, it's just the opposite. You put these posts in before pulling the bed in. The straight portion goes in the slot in the frame, and then this 90-degree bend, there's a little clasp right here if you want to show that. It goes right on the inside of that, and it just sits there, okay? So put both of these in first, and then you can pull the bed out. Once the bed is out, you can put the additional supports on. And those additional supports are just for this king-size bed on the front of the unit. If we go to the back, you'll notice there's only one set of bars. So again, we'll just split this up. Make sure that our bars are outside the little channel. Can you show that? Or pass it to me, I can show that. This is how you know the bed is out far enough, is you put the bar and it'll drop right in. So just like that. That's how you know it's out far enough. So when I'm putting the bed back in, I just bump these to the outside so that I can push it past. Okay. Again, just gotta help it over the lip. And then they come off. Once you have your poles off, I like to keep them with their bed. So I go to the ladder here, and I tuck them under the mattress of their respective bed. It's right there. And this is the shepherd hook from that bed as well, so I'm going to tuck that under the mattress for storage. Okay. Same thing with these. I just tuck them under the king bed here. So we have these safety bars that go on these posts when you pop up the camper. One edge has a wedge and one's flat. So the wedge is what goes up to the top. You kind of squeeze it up there, best you can. And then snap one side and then the other. And that's a safety for the roof to make sure it doesn't fall on you in case the pulley system were to break. So I put one on one corner and one on the back on the opposite side so that it's diagonal. And when you take them off, got both of them here. And just slide them under the king mattress as well. Okay. With that, we just need to tuck in these panels so that we can put it down. This is the button that controls the roof here. So we're bringing it down. It comes down slowly. In reverse, when you're putting it up, you have a green guide wire that helps you know how far to go up. So I like to keep my hand on it while it's going up. And then when it's taut, I know that I'm up all the way. So you can cut it. When using the electric motor to put the roof up and down, you need to be connected to shore power with the outlet there. And it might also work if you're connected to your van or vehicle with the 7-pin and the vehicle running, but I'm not actually sure. If for whatever reason the motor's not working, which I haven't had this issue yet, I am supplying a little wrench that you'll be able to do it manually. And this will take quite a while, so I hope that this doesn't happen to you, but it would get the job done. Up and down. All right. Once you have it all the way down, we're going to secure the roof with these latches. There's one on every corner, so make sure to get those down before you're driving away. And then the next thing we can do is let's put up the stabilizing feet. Just go and hand tight on that. You can do that for all 4 of them. These yellow bricks can go back in the storage container here. When lowering the camper, there's a cable right here, and when the roof is all the way down, we want to make sure there's not too much give in this cable or it can come off the pulley. So we just go down, and sometimes it'll even come up just a second to make sure that's nice and taut. Let me close the propane when we're sealing it all up. Close this door here. And then I lock it with the purple key. And then this handle comes in like this. Once you're all packed up and closed together, we can connect it to your tow vehicle. The bag awning here on the side of the camper is repaired. It's got one of the poles has been repaired. And this is the one thing that's not covered by insurance that you have with your rental. So that's what our deposit is for, is that if this comes back unusable or unfixable, like a simple fix, then we would retain your deposit to replace this, because $500 is the cost of one of these awnings. So they're pretty fragile. Use it with care if you use it. When we go out, we just bring a pop-up tent to use instead of that awning, because any bit of wind will send it sailing. So once you've got the camper hooked up to your hitch, there's a couple things we need to do. The first thing is to bring your tongue jack all the way up so that you can remove the wheel. It's a little cotter pin. We use the same pin to secure the trailer to your hitch. So it just goes through here and locks like that. You can also use the lock that's in the side unit there if you want to. Gotta play with it a little bit to get it on and off of here, but then this will go in that side unit as well. Then we have our chains, and we want to cross them. So the left one goes to the right side here, and the right one goes to the left side. The last thing we have to connect for safety is the emergency brake. So this will go to your hitch as well, and this is going to activate the trailer's brakes if it becomes disconnected from your vehicle. This is your 7-pin plug-in, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. If you are using the Kurt Echo wireless brake control from me, this is how it'll work. On the inside of the cap, you have your codes for pairing the device, and that'll plug in to your vehicle's 7-pin. Once that's connected to your vehicle's 7-pin and your car is running, you should see a blinking light, and that'll let you know that there is power being supplied to it and that you can connect it to your phone's device through Bluetooth. And I'll do a little screen recording of how that works. You'll need to download an app, and then you'll be able to calibrate this with your settings. And then you have your 7-pin. Sometimes you need to wrap it around the post here if your vehicle's really close. Sometimes you can go just through the chains, but whatever you do, just let it be off the ground. Okay, so for my van, I like to go right through the chains and then plug it into this right here. Oops, sorry, bad videoing. So I have my vehicle 7-pin, the Kurt brake unit, and then the plug for your trailer. can see I'm kind of dragging, so I'll have to rig it up a little better. But that will do it, and you're ready to tow. Just make sure that you verify that the brakes are working. When you activate them, you should be able to hear them audibly from each wheel. And then check that both of your tail lights and turn signals work. If you turn on your running lights like you would if it was dark outside, these will illuminate as well. Otherwise, these will just activate the big ones when you're braking.